Okay, what I've got here is just some standard emergency roadside equipment. Everybody should have these. There's more that you can have in your kit, some fix-a-flat, other things for tire service. But these are definite necessities. Some of these come with your vehicle. You should always know how to get to them, how to use them, because it's going to be a lot harder to figure that out when you're in a position where you absolutely need to use it. So first thing we can look at here are jumper cables. These everyone should have in case you leave something on, your battery dies. We can get power from another vehicle to start our car. We're not stranded. Make sure your jumper cables, there are cheap ones that are not insulated like this as well. They're not as thick of a gauge, or the wire's not as thick. So make sure you get a good quality set of jumper cables. It will affect how they perform and work when you need them. Next thing, we've got some kind of hazard identification. Safety triangles, flares, something to identify that you are on the side of the road, catch people's attention, especially in today's world of distracted drivers. Okay, big safety item. A lot of fatalities happen when people are stranded on the side of the road, so it's a very unsafe position to be in. Make sure you have something to flag people's attention and let them know that something is going on. Over here we've got 12-volt air compressor. Okay, these can save your life. Get some pressure back in your tire. These are going to plug into your accessory port, cigarette lighter, power on, and we can inflate our tire and read our pressure all through this gauge. So these are very handy. Sometimes when you come on a flat tire that's got a screw in it and it's flat, it may have taken a while to get to that completely deflated pressure. So a lot of times you get a little bit of pressure back into it, fill it back up to its proper setting, and you can get somewhere safe, get off the side of the road, and deal with that puncture later. Here's our spare tire kit. This has every tool necessary in it that we need to lift the vehicle and remove the lug nuts to install our spare tire. This is usually located somewhere in the trunk of the car. Depends on the vehicle model, but things you want to look into in your owner's manual before it comes time that you need it. So first we have our tire iron. This is what we're going to use to loosen and tighten our lug nuts. This is why it's imperative that if you remove your wheel in a shop, you torque your lug nuts to the proper specification. One reason is that you will not be able to get those lug nuts off with this little tire iron, and you will be stuck on the side of the road. Okay, so there's our tire. It's also going to double as our part of our jack handle. Okay, this is the second part of our jack handle. It's got the hook end. We'll show you where that goes in just a second. And this is our scissor jack. This is just operated by screwing one end. The threaded rod will raise or lower the jack. It's a mechanical jack. Depending on the vehicle, some vehicles have a small bottle jack, which is hydraulic. Depends on your model. And this is a tow hook that can screw into your front or rear bumper to assist with pulling the vehicle. Okay, you'll notice that sometimes the hardest part about all this is getting this stuff back in here correctly. Ultimate jigsaw puzzle. Right here we have the items you need to remove and install a spare tire on the side of the road. So we'll go through the steps to do that. Step one, we're going to get the jack out of the way. We don't need that yet. Don't make that mistake of jacking your car up first, because you're going to be coming right back down. Because we don't have any power tools, we're going to need to break our lug nuts loose about half a turn before we lift the tire off the ground. Otherwise, when we go to loosen those lug nuts with the wheel in the air, the wheel's going to spin and make it impossible to do that. So step one, take your tire iron, break our lug nuts loose. One, two. Notice I'm pushing down on the tire iron, using my body weight and my advantage. Okay, set the tire iron up on the right side of the correct side of the wheel. If I set it up over here, now I'm lifting and using my back instead of using my body to my advantage. Now we're good to go ahead and set up our jack and raise the vehicle. So our scissor jack here is designed with our unibody car. So where we find those lift points here on our pinch weld, usually marked by these notches up here or some type of arrow, that's going to drop right in the slot here on our jack. So they work together. So we're going to position that right in place where the pinch weld will go right in that valley. Okay, we're going to need our 2 jack handle tools. One was the tire iron that we used earlier. The first piece, the one with the hook on the end, that's going to hook right through this eyelet right here, this little hole on the jack. We're going to hook that right through, and that's going to be the device that turns the jack, like so. And then we're going to take our second tool, our tire iron, and we're going to connect it with the tire iron facing outward. It's going to be a handle. So they're just going to slip together like that. So we've created a T handle here. That's how most of them work. Go ahead and get your hook back through the hole. Now, using my right hand, I can hold on to the tire iron, use my left hand as a pivot, and I can crank the jack up like this and down like that. Let's go ahead and get it in position and we'll lift the wheel off the ground. Got my jack in position. It's touching the car, so it's hard to turn now. It means it's time to go ahead and attach our handle. The hook through first. Slide our tire iron over. Now I can crank the vehicle up in the air. Okay, just hold with your left hand and rotate with your right. Vehicle's slowly going to raise up. We're just going to take it high enough to get clearance under this rear tire. Don't need to go extra high. Some safety items here with our scissor jacks. Depending on where you're changing this tire, it might not be the most even ground, so be careful of terrain. It's not a very big base on the jack. Vehicle should be in park or the e-brake on to help with stability. These are very susceptible to rocking, so don't lean on the car. Shouldn't have passengers in the car. They're not the most stable jacks. They're meant to get the wheel off the ground, change the spare, and lower the vehicle. Remove our lug nuts that we broke loose earlier. Keep them handy, don't lose them. And pull our wheel off. Roll the flat tire out of the way. Okay, I got our spare tire from the trunk. Go ahead and roll that into position. Hang it on our wheel studs here. Then we're going to install our lug nuts finger tight first. Get those threads started correctly. Next, let's get our lugs tightened down by hand, enough that we can put some weight on this wheel. We're only going to be able to get them so tight before the wheel spins, so we'll do a final tightening once we're on the ground. What we want to make sure though is that we don't have any space in the wheel like this. Okay, so we want to get all that slack out of the wheel first. it does help to do star pattern right now. It brings the wheel down nice and even, so we don't have any areas that are binding up. So just getting to where the lug nut stops and move on to the next. Okay, quick check. I've got no play. We can go ahead and lower the vehicle down. Got our spare tire on. Lug nuts are on. Hand tight. Go ahead and get our hook tool and the jack. We're ready to lower the vehicle. They do come down a lot easier than they go up. Okay, so again, hold here while we crank with our other hand. Okay, once we get some weight on the wheel, it's a lot easier. Finger tight the rest of the way. That jack out of there. Come around for a final torquing, star pattern. Set it up so we're leaning on the tire iron. And this is going to be our torque device. So we're going to tighten these as much as we can by hand, and it's going to limit how much we can put into it. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Lugs are torqued, our spare tires installed. I want to get our jack and everything back into the storage container so that we have it again next time if we need it. I wasn't kidding when I said that might be the hardest part. Thanks for joining us. Hope that was a quick go around on emergency roadside procedures, some of the way those tools work. But I stress, just be familiar with those, go through your owner's manual, know where your spare tire is, know where your jack is, and how to get to those before you absolutely really need to get to those.